Well, joining me in the studio for our Kids Culture Club is Jem. Hi, Jem.
Hi
Good
there.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I was
Good
thinking
to
of
see you.
KCC because that's Kids Culture Club.
Oh, KCC.
But then again, KCC is a very well-known, what do you call this? Very well known in other countries, not here in Korea, because they often refer to the KCC or the Korea Cultural Center.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
all over the world. I think we have KCCs all over the world. So it's like
that's
everyone.
fun.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people who wanted to learn like Korean or wanted to experience Korean culture. I mean, they actually go to KCCs to learn Korean, learn a lot of things, learn maybe making something or kimchi making as well.
Oh, activities too.
Yeah,
That sounds
so-
really fun.
Yeah, so that's they would often tell me, "Hey, have you been to KCC? Like, where's KCC?" But here in our show, it's not the Korea Cultural Center, but it's the Kids Culture Club.
Right. We're the Kids Culture Club, and we love to talk about issues related to kids and multicultural families, right?
Yeah.
And I love the whole segment today about, the first day of school, going to school. It really brings back a lot of memories, and just hearing you tell your story too. I remember being excited back in elementary school now, and I get to relive that again because I have my own kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm way past the elementary school kids. Maybe I'll be looking forward to having granddaughters or grandsons, grandchildren going to elementary school. now.
Right. Well, it'll be the third time you can enjoy as well. But it was very exciting back then, and it's exciting now. But I remember, thinking back, oh, it was really fun, but it got really hard around high school.
Why's that?
In high school, we were talking about kind of bullying and mean
Oh,
nicknames,
yeah.
right? So actually, back in middle school, high school is when I first started getting interested in Korean culture. I was totally in love with this group called Shinhwa. Do you know them?
Oh, yeah. Shinhwa. Like
Yes.
Minu, M. Is that
Eric?
right?
Yeah, Minu,
and
Eric. I could tell you them all.
because my friend, she came to Korea because of Shinhwa.
Oh, really?
She worked for the Korea for a journal, an English journal, as a reporter here for quite a long time before she left. She was torn because she has, a favorite band in Japan as well. But she was so crazy with Shinhwa, she decided to come to Korea.
Really? So
Yeah.
she came here. Yeah, it's kind of the similar case for me. And actually, I was bullied for it back in high school.
Why?
K-pop is kind of newly popular. But when I was in high school, people were like, why are you listening to this music? Do you even know what they're saying?
Oh, yeah.
But for me, it's the visuals, it's the music, and that's actually how I started learning Hangul.
Okay.
I would read their lyrics and try to match the sound to the symbol, and then try to learn the words step by
Ooh,
step. So
okay.
eventually, that path led me here. So kids used to call me K-pop. That was my...
That's a very, very good nickname.
Right, but back then they meant it as an insult, but nowadays it wouldn't be so much, right?
Yeah.
Now K-pop is becoming more popularized. So the next generation, they don't have to be bullied like me. Now they can freely enjoy.
Now I
K-pop.
know. Yeah, I remember way back the first time I tried to learn Korean was because I was given a cassette tape. Oh wow, I'm so old. It's not CD. It's not it's cassette tapes. I was given 2 cassette tapes of 2 different singers here in Korea, and I love their songs. So I tried to learn Korean. Just be able to read them, not really understand what the words are, but just to read them. And I ended up like singing this one song. So, I learned how to sing it so well, and then I sang it in front of my husband just to later realize that the lyrics actually means we're separating.
Oh no. Surprise! I thought it was a love song.
Yeah.
And I have experienced the same thing now. When I re-sing these Shinhwa songs, I had no idea what I was saying back then. And now I'm like, aha.
Okay.
That's what I was saying all along. But actually, the reason why I bring this up is related to my daughter. Very recently, I saw her studying Hangul
Okay.
on, watching videos.
How old is your daughter?
Oh, so she is Western age 6,
Okay.
international age 6, and Korean age 7.
7. So is she in school?
She is in her last year, like kindergarten.
Okay.
She will
Not
be
yet in elementary school.
Yeah,
Okay.
next year's the big jump.
Okay.
So I saw her learning Hangul, reading the lyrics to a song.
Okay.
Recently, there's a very popular movie called Encanto.
Yeah, people have been talking about
Right.
that. Uh-huh.
And, through this, we watched this at home in English.
Okay.
But she went to school and her friends all sing the songs in Korean.
Ooh.
So when I asked her, "Oh, what are you doing?" She said, "I'm studying. All of my friends want me to sing it in Korean, not English."
Oh.
So I thought of that as the first point. Today we're kind of going to talk about the struggles and also the good points that multicultural kids face,
So
right?
it's sort of like she's
Yeah.
being pushed,
Pushed.
pressured by her peers to learn, the Korean version of the song.
Right. So it's
Okay.
like the peer pressure about language. But the good news is she's getting pretty good
Okay.
at both languages, at both versions of the song.
Oh, that's great. I
Yes.
mean, we both try to learn Korean through songs. Maybe this is her opportunity as well.
Yes.
Now, any background regarding, the number of children attending school these days? I know the population is like, getting smaller and smaller, and people don't really have kids or don't get married anymore. So
Right.
it's a problem. But how many do we actually have?
Right. Actually, despite that, the number of multicultural families is increasing. So, as we know, Korea is mostly a homogeneous country. So, one ethnicity, one language,
Yeah.
Korean. But the foreign population is about 2 million,
Yeah.
4.6% of the population. This is as of 2021.
Yeah.
So, the groups they call them minority language groups,
Okay.
are growing and growing. Currently, there are 137,225 students in the system,
Okay.
public schools,
These are from multicultural families.
from multicultural
Okay.
families. The majority, 76%, are in elementary school, and 80.4% are from international marriages with at least one Korean parent.
Okay.
So usually the father is Korean, and then the mother is from a different background. But there are lots of issues still regarding this.
Okay, so what kind of issues are we talking about?
So as I mentioned, most of them are in elementary school, right?
Yeah.
Actually, multicultural children experience 2 times the dropout rate, more than Korean students. So since about 2006, the government has tried to implement some programs because it's been growing
Yeah.
since then. The first one is called the Educational Plan for Children from Multicultural Families. They want to protect them against kind of social and educational discrimination.
Okay.
And from 2013, 2014, they kind of made a no child left behind policy.
Sort of an Obama.
Yeah, as well, by providing
Policy,
services like Korean language. I think the
Okay.
main issue is the Korean language learning, right?
Okay.
So they do things like customized Korean tutoring for under 12. Because the number of children is growing, they're worried, how can we make the plan work, right?
Okay.
But there are lots of resources available to help multicultural children, but we're getting bigger and bigger every day.
Yeah.
So they're worried, how can we make it work in the future? So this is something that's going on right now still.
Yeah. Well, we all know that the number of multicultural kids, the number of births from multicultural family is actually going up.
Right.
We have the number of kids or the births in multicultural families is actually higher than the average that we have here in the nation for everyone. So we are actually we are actually expecting there will be more kids coming from multicultural family backgrounds in the future as well. And of course, those kids, most of them, as you have said, are in elementary school,
Right.
So they are just in elementary school, so they are going to grow up, be in middle school and high school, and there are a lot of challenges as they grow up, because we know how difficult and how, the pressure is in education here in Korea.
It's already hard in Korean for Korean students. Imagine
Yes.
your second language, right?
I know.
Yes, yes. But these are kind of the statistics. They are working on it, but we also have to think about the reality. The government tries to help, but how do the multicultural children really adapt? So just wondering, when your children were growing up, did they have any special experience?
Well, the thing is,
Or
my
difficulty?
son was the very first multicultural, the very first student with a multicultural from a multicultural family in his school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that was the time when he was attending school. He was in third grade, was the time that we had the Multicultural Support Act. Multicultural Family Support Act was implemented and all of that. And every time, and there was like a tamunha songsengnim, a teacher who is supposed to take care of all of those kids from multicultural families. But he's alone. He's the only one in
Personal
school.
tutor?
Yeah, so,
So to
like
speak?
he's sort of like he doesn't want that attention, because every single time, because they have to, report to the government, because the government is actually giving them budget to spend for multicultural kids.
Right.
And then, every time he's being called, hey, you have to attend this, you have to go to Gyeongbok Palace once again, you have to visit this, you have to join a lot of those special tours that they have been making because the budget has been set.
So extra activities.
Yeah, these kids were born here and they grew up here, so they're not foreign. They know, they don't have to go to Gyeongbok Palace like 3 or 4 times more than other kids.
Right. They
Yeah.
can learn in school.
Yeah, so that was one of the biggest problems way back then when they were trying to implement, trying to make sure that these kids are assimilated here in Korea.
Right. And you bring up a really good point about your son saying he had the help, but he didn't really want the special
Yeah.
attention. And I do think that's the reality. And I've listened to my daughter and some of her other friends. They say, she gets special attention from adults. They say to her, like, wow, you speak 2 languages or more. Oh, 좋겠다 is so
Yeah.
good. Or 부럽다, I'm so jealous. Whereas, her classmates are like, whoa, why are you speaking English? Stop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the feeling is a little bit different. The reason could be, I think usually the younger students, they feel pressure about English and other languages. So their parents sometimes force them to
Yeah.
blend and interact. And also my daughter herself, she doesn't want that special attention.
Yeah.
So it really...
It's like as a parent, you are sort of like, you would love to see, your kids having more attention from their teachers. But the
Right.
kids, honestly, they don't like that because that makes them feel different from all of the other kids.
Exactly. They don't want to feel so different. And I think if you let the kids just play together, I do think it could happen more naturally.
Yeah. Now we are talking about the difficulties of multicultural kids. Those things that they're facing while they're going to school. There is an issue in Ulsan, actually. We know that the government is trying to do, more for those kids, but that was a big issue, right?
Right. So today, the main reason why we want to talk about multicultural children in schools is in Ulsan. The issue of the Afghan refugees in Ulsan. So in August of 2021, 391 Afghans, 235 of them being children, arrived in Korea after there was issues with the Taliban in their home country. So first, they were in a 6-month social integration program in Jincheon and Yeosu, and then they resettled in Ulsan. So on the first day of school, that's back in early March, right? The children were set to attend Seolbu Elementary School, but lots of parents disagreed, right? So what are the reasons they disagreed? The Korean parents said, oh, we feel shocked. Suddenly, these people move into our neighborhood, and now they're going to come to our school. Well, we didn't get any warning. But on the other hand, the children, they want to go to school.
Yeah,
they want to
of
become
course.
part
They
of
should
society.
be educated.
Yeah, and it's really hard for the parents to explain, oh, you can't go to school because people don't want you
Yeah.
to. So this is one of the big issues going on right now.
So the backlash is mostly about children entering the school, right?
Right. So they were worried about language barrier,
Yeah.
communication first. even though the children have studied Korean, can you really become a master in 6 months?
Yeah.
I mean, kids are, very,
They're
very smart.
fast,
They like
yeah.
sponges. But another reason was moms were worried about introducing their children to a new culture. Actually, one mom was quoted saying, for instance, seeing people wearing a hijab is unfamiliar even for a grown-up like me. Accepting new cultures would be more difficult for young children. The Afghan children will also find it difficult to adapt to Korean school life. But personally, I disagreed with this statement.
Yeah.
I
Kids are more curious and they are more, as you have said, sponges. They can actually get used to a culture better.
think
Than adults. I mean, it's so easy for them because they don't have any other thoughts when it comes to why are you wearing hijab? Oh, because this is what we wear in Afghanistan. Oh, okay.
Exactly.
That's going to be fine.
They let it go.
Yeah.
They're just curious. What's that? Oh, it's a hijab. Okay, cool. And let's play.
Yeah.
So I think we should really give a lot more trust to the children themselves.
Okay. So, but there's been some news, good news
Right.
regarding this one.
So happy to report that as of today, March 21st, the children will be entering the public elementary school. They will be offered separate education programs depending on their Korean language skills. There will be 3 groups based on language skills. Each class has 1 homeroom teacher and 2 Korean tutors. As of right now, this is the plan because they want to get the kids in school.
Yeah.
But the long-term plan is still being discussed. But the good news is,
They're going
welcome
to
to school.
school.
First day
Yeah.
of school again.
Okay, congratulations and welcome to school. I hope you learn as many things as possible. Now, any advice that you can give for parents worried about sending their children, especially to public schools here in Korea?
Right. I was scared before sending my children even to daycare. The world is not perfect. It could be scary, but the reality is my children do get a lot of love from their teachers. And as long as you put them in the good environment, they will thrive. If you
Yeah.
have any issues with your school or the teachers, of course, you can think about relocating them, but don't be scared is
Yeah.
my top advice.
Okay, well, there you go. Don't be scared.
Trust the kids.
Trust the kids.
They have good hearts to begin with, right?
Okay, well, there you go. Now, we will be reading just 2 messages, and then I'm leaving you with a song for today. This is Minnie Mouse, and this is K-pop.
Hey.
Now, those are our nicknames when we were young. 2509 said, 코알라 닮아서 코알라로 불렀습니다. 나름 귀여운 별명이라 만족했어요. Oh, that's so good for you. 2509 says, they look like a koala, so they were called koala. But for it's, they're comfortable with it. They're good with it because it's a very cute nickname. 0598. 저는 초등학교 때 너무 까매서 아프리카 주장 딸이었어요. 그땐 까만 피부가 싫었는데 지금은 건강해 보인다고 부러워하네요. 0598 said that when they were in elementary school, their skin was so dark that they were being called, or she is being called the daughter of an African tribe leader.
What a name.
Yeah, way back then, she did not like the blacks, the dark skin, but these days it looks healthy, so it's good. Well, there you go. Thank you very much for sending in your messages. Smenanair is coming up next after this song. This is, your favorite, Shinhwa with First Love.
Yeah!
And this has been Jasmine. Join me once again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Love you all.
내 사랑이 느껴지는 너도 들리니 어설프지만 내 맘을 전하는 나의 작은 기도 소리 들리니 내 손끝에 내 눈끝에 항상 널 느껴 어떤 말로 이 느낌을 다해 자꾸 웃는 내 모습이 이상한가 봐 너도 보면 웃을 거야 바보 눈을 감으면 꿈속으로 와 잠시 눈 떨어지